Hi, how are you? Today I am reviewing Sony Alpha a6000 review. 2-minute review. Sony a6000 key features. 24.3 megapixel APS-C seamless sensor. Bions X image processor. Hybrid F system with 25 contrast detect and 179 phase detect points. Built-in flash plus multi-interface shoe. 11 fps continuous shooting with subject tracking. 3-inch tilting LCD with 921,600 dots. OLED electronic viewfinder with 1.44 m dots. Diffraction correction, area-specific noise reduction, and detail reproduction technology. Full HD video recording at 1080/60p and 24p, clean HDMI output. Wi-Fi with NFC capability and downloadable apps. The major changes here are related to the sensor. The new 24-megapixel XMR APS HD CMOS sensor has on-chip phase detection like its predecessor, but it covers a much larger area of the frame. Sony promises better AF tracking, especially when shooting continuously. The a6000 uses Sony's latest image processor, Bions X, which touts improved detail and smarter noise reduction as improvements. Hybrid F system. If there's one area that makes the a6000 stand out from the crowd, it's the camera's improved F system. While the 25-point contrast detect part of the system remains the same, the number of phase detect points has increased from 99 to 179 since the Nex 6. All of those extra phase detect points give you a much wider coverage area, roughly 92% of the frame, compared to around 50%. The benefit? A wider area that lets phase detection autofocus do what it does best, track moving subjects. Bions X processor. The company's latest Bions X processor is considerably more powerful than the previous generation, allowing what the company says will be more sophisticated processing. Sony is being a little vague on specifics, but is touting the new processor as offering detail reproduction technology which appears to be a more subtle and sophisticated sharpening system. The company promises less apparent emphasis on edges, giving a more convincing representation of fine detail. Sony a6000, design. Measuring 4.8 by 2.9 by 1.9 inches, the a6000 body is nicely compact and about half the size of an average mainstream DSLR body. Constructed of composite materials, the body is light at 12.1 ounces but feels solidly built. The a6000's grip is comfortable to hold, even for those with bigger hands. Unlike some other mirrorless models that lack an electronic viewfinder, EVF, or onboard flash, or both, the a6000 is equipped with both. The a6000's small pop-up flash has a reach of about 20 feet, shooting at ISO 100. It's good for flash fill to illuminate backlit subjects but can sometimes overpower a shot at close distances. You can use the flash exposure compensation setting to adjust the output. The flash tilts back up to 90 degrees to bounce off a low, light-colored ceiling in order to soften the light as it falls onto the subject. You can also mount one of Sony's 3 external flash units on the a6000's multi-interface hot shoe. Sony a6000, controls. The a6000's many controls and custom options could be overwhelming at first, but they allow enthusiasts to set the camera up just right for their preferences. Featuring 2 dials, 1 wheel and 9 buttons, the camera's compact body keeps almost everything within easy reach. In addition to 2 dedicated user-assignable buttons, other controls are also customizable. For example, an FN button calls up an on-screen menu with your choice of up to 12 functions for easy access. Sony a6000, image quality. The a6000 is built around a 24-megapixel APS-C size CMOS sensor, like those in most DSLRs, and Sony's Bions X processor, a combination that usually delivered top-notch image quality. We tested the a6000 with a trio of lenses, the kit option EPZ16 to 50mm f/3.55.60 ss power zoom, $350, if bought separately, The Sony Sonor TF 35mm f/2.8 full-frame prime lens, $800, and the Sigma 60mm f/2.8 DN, A, $350. For continuity with other camera reviews, we shot mostly with the 35mm lens, which has a 52mm full-frame equivalent field of view. Daylight results. The a6000 shines in good light. With the camera set to standard, the default, or neutral in the creative style menu, colors are relatively accurate and pleasing, though not as saturated as those from other mirrorless cameras, particularly the Olympus OMD series models. If you prefer more color intensity, you can set the a6000's creative style to vivid. Sony a6000, video performance. The a6000's video implementation is outstanding, with full manual control, aperture, shutter speed and ISO, possible before and during filming. However, the only focus choices are manual or continuous AF. While the latter works well, it would be nice to have a single AF choice to avoid the risk of the lens moving in and out of focus, although we rarely saw that. The a6000 can record video in the AFCAD format at 1980 by 1080 and up to 60 fps progressive or interlaced, and at the film-like 24 fps progressive, 24p. MPEG-4 capture is possible at 1440 by 1080 or 640 by 480 at 30 fps. Sony a6000, autofocus and speed. The a6000 features both the slow contrast detection autofocus of earlier mirrorless cameras, also found in point-and-shoot and phone cameras, but augmented with fast phase detection sensors like those used in DSLRs. The a6000 has an impressive 179 phase detection points, up from 99 in the Nexus 6, that cover about 92% of the image sensor, resulting in above-average autofocus performance. Sony a6000, wireless capabilities. The a6000's built-in Wi-Fi sets up a hotspot for communicating with a smartphone. Pairing the camera and phone was easy using an iPhone 4S, and is even easier with NFC-enabled Android phones, as it requires merely tapping the two devices together. You can transfer images to the phone for uploading or to use the smartphone as a remote trigger after installing the free Sony Play Memories app, iOS and Android. Sony a6000, battery life. With a CP rating of 310 shots, using the viewfinder, and 360 shots, using the LCD monitor, the a6000's battery life looks decent on paper. Ratings based on the CP standard are generally accurate for basic shooting but don't take into account features such as continuous autofocus, image stabilization or Wi-Fi. As a real-world example, we drained the battery to 46% one day after shooting about 220 images, captured as JPEG and RAW, using both the rear LCD and the viewfinder. We did not use Wi-Fi or shoot video, or use continuous AF or flash for any shots. Sony a6000 lenses. Sony has built up its C-mount lens line over the years to include a nice variety of primes and zooms ranging in price from just under $300 all the way up to $1,200. For a bit more cash, a6000 users can select new full-frame lenses designed for Sony's A7, A7R and A7S cameras. Companies such as Sigma and Zeiss also offer remount lenses. We particularly like the $350 Sigma 60mm f/2.8 DN, a lens, equivalent to a 90mm telephoto, for clarity and sharpness that are especially impressive at this price. Sony also sells adapters for attaching the A-mount lenses from its DSLRs. Autofocus. Autofocus is great, it's fast and accurate. Face recognition really works to find and focus on faces with no need to select them manually. It works well in the dark outside at night and doesn't need its AF illuminator. It only stumbles if it's even darker, like inside a very dim restaurant, where it may take a few tries to get focus. Read on under high ISOs where I'll show where it focuses well or not. Sony a6000, verdict. As the mirrorless, Interchangeable lens camera market continues to grow. It's more difficult to make a decision about which camera to purchase. Since the a6000 came out, Sony has released 3 newer models, the a6300, a6400, and the a6500. Both the a6300 and a6500 are also very strong, albeit more expensive, models, but for those looking for an entry-level mirrorless camera, the a6000 remains one of the best. So I highly recommend getting the Sony Alpha a6000 review. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my RS product review channel. Thank you.